Hey everyone, today we're going to brew another Ethiopian coffee called Refisa. This is a coffee from Nensebo, which is found in Ethiopia's Oromia region, an area called West Arsi that is getting to be known for producing some really high quality coffees in the last few years. It's one of the coffees we've got coming this year through a group called Snap Coffees, who are running several washing stations in various regions. We've already begun roasting a coffee called Raraboda, named after the washing station in Uraga region. And we have another one called Danche, coming from Chelabesa region. But this one, Refisa, is very particular in flavour. When we first tasted it, it was very, very closed, very papery and not very expressive. But actually a wealth of fruity and floral characteristics have really come to the fore after a few months resting out. It's a particularly peachy coffee for me, and when we brew a cup, we'll talk about the flavours in depth. It's the collaborative result of about 400 or so smallhold coffee farmers who are growing their coffee within the Harena forest in the Baal Mountains National Park. So it's not a full forest coffee, it's sort of semi-forest garden coffee. They are tending to the trees actively and obviously doing selective picking and things like that. It's not just wild coffee that they're going out and finding, but they've taken ownership of these particular trees in the forest. Once they've harvested the coffee cherries, they will deliver them to Refisa site, where Semene Alemu is overseeing the processing facility, and he's sort of guiding how to process and how to dry the coffees to maintain the quality. The first thing they will do is use a traditional agar disc pulper to remove the cherry skins, and then they're doing a really, really long fermentation time of 72 hours underwater. Incredibly long time to let the native microbiome break down that mucilage before it's graded in channels whilst being washed and all that sugary mucilage being scrubbed off, and then dried on raised beds in layers of around 2 centimeters. So very, very uniform, very controlled, slow drying for about 10 days in the sun before it is ready to be dry milled and exported. At Refisa, they're doing a really, really great job of preserving all of the qualities of the particular coffee seeds being grown by the contributing smallhold farmers. Most of the coffee varieties being tended to are Wolisho and Kurome, which are sort of improved landrace selections from a sort of Typica ascension in Ethiopia. But there are also pockets of JARC identified varieties 74110 and 74112, which sound less romantic, of course, but they are earmarked as either more resistant to coffee berry disease or leaf rust. In the 70s or so, they were earmarked and have been promoted by certain parties in certain regions within Ethiopia. So each of the contributing smallhold farmers will have between about 2,000 and 4,000 coffee trees. Each tree will produce an average of about 3 kilos or so of coffee fruit per season. What's really nice with Snap Coffees is they have other branches to their company. They've come from an electronics background, not always been in coffee, and what they're doing is providing computing equipment to local schools near the washing stations, as well as building health clinics and having plans to invest in the road infrastructure to and from their washing stations. So trying to have a strong social impact as well as producing high quality coffees at their washing stations. So let's prepare a cup. I'll talk to you a little bit about how we roasted the coffee, and we'll try and pick up on some of the standout flavours in the coffee. This particular batch was roasted following our second test roast we did of the coffee. The first one was very, very compressed, very energy rich. The coffee sort of raced through and achieved quite a high end temperature in a short amount of time, which had its benefits. It was very, very intense and very aromatic. It didn't really have the clarity and the sort of gentle, focused cup profile that we were looking for. So we tried another test, a little bit of a softer approach, expanded the roast time, reduced the end temperature, and it's much rounder and softer with a much more focused sweetness in the cup. And the results now are really, really lovely. Very, very fresh. Wonderfully fresh, lively cup profile. Fresh is a very hard thing to pin down when you talk about coffee flavour. You can mean that the green coffee still tastes fresh, that the roast is fresh, the brew is fresh. But here what I mean is that it's vibrant and lively and has very sort of vivid characteristics. It's not flat or dull or boring. It's just got so much popping off and so complex. And yeah, that little tickle of spice in it, there's a hint of star anise, that slight warmth, just offsets the sort of very fresh, ethereal, floral and citric notes. It's super good coffee, impeccably processed, really, really interesting flavours. And it's a joy to roast. It behaves really, really nicely. so it's very, very consistent and well behaved. And we really hope you enjoy it as much as we do. So thank you very much to everyone who's contributed to growing the coffee at Refisa washing station, and we really hope you like it. Thank you very much for watching. We'll see you soon.